All right, everybody, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for joining in. And wherever you may be in the world, my name is John Avery. I'm the Strategic Marketing Director for Bradmark Technologies and your behind-the-scenes virtual host for today's presentation. This session will cover Bradmark's upcoming release of Surveillance DB, our homegrown database performance monitoring solution, and our product roadmap. Before we begin, all attendees will be muted for the session, but if you have any questions, there's a Q&A tab available to address all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. Ed, I'm going to introduce our friend and colleague Ed Stangler. He's our lab manager for surveillance products, a recognized expert specifically in the field of SAP database management and the user community. Let me see here. What's going on? Okay. Let's see. He's addressed many technical sessions. He's presented many technical sessions, advanced and beginning, addressing database performance issues, techniques, monitoring best practices, and real-world challenges that our customers face every day. So with that, Ed, I will pass it on to you, and let's get started.
Thank you, John. Thanks to everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that you'll find some useful information in our webcast today. We're going to talk a little bit about our Surveillance 4.7 product coming up, as well as a few things beyond that. And we're also going to take a look back at some of the other things that we've done this year with our 4.5 product to hopefully deliver a lot more useful features, new exciting things, and to fix issues in the product and deliver you a better product to help you monitor your databases and to really provide value to you with performance metrics and alerts. We're also would love to have feedback from you if there are things that we haven't covered in the webcast. We would love to hear back from you, and at the end of the broadcast, we will tell you how you can get in touch with us and let us know if we need to monitor something, if there's something that you want out of the product. We would love to hear from you. So our agenda for today is going to have a little bit of Surveillance 4.5, a little bit of a review of that, some 4.7. We'll go into a demo and talk about 4.8 future direction. Then we'll, as John mentioned, we'll close with some Q&A. Some of the things that we're going to talk about are going to be a little bit technical, but we'll also have some high-level things as well. So a little bit for everybody, and we're also going to review the product architecture a little bit in case you're not very familiar with the surveillance product as well. So back in March, we released our Surveillance 4.5.2 product. Some of the things that we did in this product include an enhanced alerts dashboard, as well as incident management through the web UI, and we'll be seeing a little bit of that later on. This is an exciting part of our product that provides another entry point into the product.
Ed?
Allows you to actually see the alerts.
Ed, I'm
Yes?
sorry. I'm sorry for the interruption. There may be an echo going on, some feedback on your voice. Maybe if that's something that you can try to. Maybe there's one or too many items that's being addressed. I don't know. I'm hearing one instance of that. So I don't know if it's in general, but that's something.
Okay. Does it sound? Do you still hear the echo?
Let me.
Hopefully, you still hear the. Do you hear the echo? I cannot hear anything from you, but hopefully you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I believe the echo still exists.
Okay. Can you pick up?
Yep.
Okay. I think we're okay though. I think it sounds like somebody gave feedback. I think we're okay. So let's continue on. Yeah, I think we'll continue on. I think people are okay with this, John. So
okay.
All right. So sorry about that, everybody. So again, so we have an alert dashboard, which was a major thing in our 4.5.2 release. We also had a much stronger and a streamlined SQL Server monitoring module. Before there were things you had to do with the SQL Server module. You don't have to do that anymore, and you're able to get that going in a much easier way, and provides a lot more full experience on the SQL Server side. We've also expanded and optimized our AC monitoring. We're continuing to do a lot of things with AC 16 and AC 15.7. We also improved our Oracle monitoring, and of course we supported the latest service packs across the different SAP products to catch up for that, because there had been a little bit of a time between our last release and this particular one. So there was a lot of things that we put in there to really provide you with the best support for the different databases. On the technical side, there were also some other points that we added to this release. We had role-based access control and fine-grained permissions. That means you can create users in the product, and well, you already had users in the product, but now you can grant permissions to them for different windows, for different servers, really provide different views of the product at an application level, which is a really great enhancement for enterprise organizations who need to have different sets of teams working on different servers. You could already accomplish that through other means before, but now it's a lot easier to do that in our 4.5.2 release. We have a thin client distribution on Windows available, so for places where it's a difficult installation to do the Windows install, there's now a thin client available for that. We also did service hardening on Windows Server to provide a much smaller surface, attack surface on Windows Server. We provided WMI user-defined collections, so now you can use WMI to easily extend the product in our OS module. And of course, we added support for the latest SQL servers, 2014, 2016. This was before the 2016 release came out. And then also support for the latest versions of Windows and Windows Server. Now, our 4.5.3 release was put out in July, and in this release, we had a couple areas that we improved as well. We had enhanced RS ticket support. We have current and historical latency shown, and we're going to see a little bit of that in the demo. We show throughput and activity, so really tried to provide better support for RS ticket, be able to show that in a better way. And in fact, it's going to be illustrative of the kinds of things that we're doing moving forward, so we'll be looking at that in the demo. We also provided an official MIB definition for the product, enhancements to the web client, a lot of things with incident management in the web client, and also improvements to the OS module. So if you're coming from a previous version of the product, maybe a Surveillance 4.4 or Surveillance 4.3 or something like that, we're covering a couple of things that are going to be really a different experience for you moving up to the 4.5 series and beyond. We also have tech points involving alert handlers. You can Oracle Database 12.1 support is in there, or better support for it. Better support for replication server, the newer versions, being able to globally enable and disable the central repository, as well as URLs that you can share with other people for accessing the different web client screens as well. Now, Surveillance 4.54 release is expected in October, and one part that's not on here is that we are trying to get on a more, I should say, more reliable schedule for putting out maintenance releases, and more, so we're able to put out a few per year, be able to be more where you can expect certain releases at certain times. And so our 4.54 release is going to be 3 months after our 4.53 release, and we have things like SAP replication server enhancements. We're going to have better multipass support. We have a new alert for that, memory usage information, as well as monitoring enhancements for Oracle, and also a few other maintenance-related items and fixes as well. But we expect that in October, since the last one was in July, and then we expect another one 3 months after October. So getting on a more stable schedule, more reliable schedule, in order to provide you the latest fixes and the latest small enhancements on a reliable schedule as well. And what we call, we call these releases maintenance releases, whereas the 4.7 release is more of a major release for us in the product. Now, before we go into the 4.7 items, I'd like to just review the architecture of the product and some of the things, the way it's designed right now in terms of feature set. We have 4 main areas for the surveillance product. We have our real-time diagnostics, and those are the windows that you can open up to see the overall health, and you can see the processes out there and the SQL that's currently running, and the database sizes, and all those great things. We also have event management. This is the alerts. So everything you can do in the real-time monitoring, pretty much, you can do an alert off of that. And we have different ways of delivering the alerts. You can send emails, you can do SNMP traps, you can do all sorts of great things with the alerts. We also have flashback analysis, which is basically taking our real-time interface and taking it back in time. So you can be looking, for example, at a database space usage window, and you can go back to 3 o'clock yesterday to see how it was yesterday, if it had filled up, for example. Or if there was a SQL that was running at 3 o'clock yesterday and you need to go back and see it, you can flash back our currently running SQL window and see how that was running. And this is the flashback is stored in a set of flat files on the server, so we're able to quickly access that and go back in time. But for longer term data, we have reporting services going against a central data repository. And that central data repository is on any kind of database that you have. You can set it up on SQL Server or ASC or Oracle, whatever you'd like. And you can then run reports against that. And that's for more long-term items like long-term space usage and things like that. And of course, for our monitoring solution, it's a heterogeneous monitoring solution that can cover all the different SAP products, HANA, ASC, IQ, Web Server, as well as SQL Server, Oracle, DB2, UDB, those kinds of things, as well as operating systems. So it's also a solution that covers a lot of different types of databases and different operating systems. Our overall architecture, and I bring this up because 4.7 really, for the first time in a long time, really changes some parts of the architecture. But our architecture is we have web clients and Windows clients available, and we have a server side that our agents run on. We have the main agent, which is a SAM, and the SAM has sub-agents like our analyzer agent for looking at rules, doing events, those kinds of things. The alerter actually sends those events by email, SMTP. We can send out, we can call web services, we can run scripts, we can do all those great things based off of the events that happen. And then we also have a repository agent that sends data to our local repository. This is the flashback repository with a set of flat files, for example. And then optionally send that on to the central repository database where this is inside of SQL Server, ASC, Oracle, whatever database you want. And then we do reports off of that using Crystal Reports. And there's a lot of canned reports that come out of the box, and you can also create your own. We also have collector agents that actually get the metric data. We have an OS agent, we have ASC, we have SQL Server, Oracle, HANA, and those all have collection definitions that come out of the box, and you can extend those with your own collection definitions, what we call our user-defined collections, or UDCs, and they become first-class types of collections inside the product. You can alert off of them, you can repository them, you can do a lot of different things with them, just like you can for the factory collections. So in 4.7, we actually extend this architecture a little bit with 2 new agents. We have one agent called the history agent. The history agent actually allows us to access the central repository database and bring that back into the main product. So with that, this is how our web reports are being created in 4.7, is we're able to, with the new history agent, we're able to access that central repository and integrate that into the product. We also have another agent, what we call our Uber agent. The Uber agent is actually a higher level agent that allows us to do a lot of interesting things. In 4.7, it will allow us to do what we call agile historical analysis, which will be involving the flashback, and we'll see that in a moment. But it also allows us to create new types of agents in the future that'll be really exciting for different types of monitoring. So 4.7, the main points, as you probably saw in the email that went out, are the following. We have a Surveillance Express Edition that'll be available in 4.7. The Surveillance Express Edition is a kind of a starter product for situations where, especially for our new customers who want to try it out on a production system or a QA system, and be able to quickly see some things in order to prove the product, for example. And it's a limited subset of the surveillance product, but it allows you to be able to prove it on a system and then see if you then need to go up to our surveillance product for full monitoring. We also have Agile Historical Analysis. The Agile Historical Analysis is leveraging our flashback store. Our flashback store is a set of flat files that are on each server and allows us to go back in time to, let's say, 3 o'clock yesterday. The Agile Historical Analysis allows us to graph things and to do different types of more short-term historical kinds of things. So, for example, if we wanted to see top SQL by hour or top SQL by day, we can see that with the Agile Historical Analysis. We can also take a look at the SQL that was running, let's say, between 5 and 7 o'clock yesterday. Those kinds of short-term historical kinds of things are things now we're leveraging out of our flashback repository and be able to really show that more nicely in the web client of the product. So this is really one of the big emphasis items of 4.7 is this short-term historical analysis kinds of visualizations and kind of information that's coming out of there. We also have support for HANA Scale-Out. HANA Scale-Up is the single node HANA, and HANA Scale-Out is the multi-node HANA. So we have support for Scale-Out for multi-node HANA in 4.7, and we have some various things that we can generate out of there. We also have web client reporting or web reporting. This is, as I mentioned before, we have a new history agent that's able to talk to the central repository. So, if you already have Crystal Reports reporting out of the central repository, this is a new item that we're adding on that allows you then to see different types of information out of the web client. We also have a faster installation. We try to streamline the installation in several areas to provide a much easier experience, especially on Windows. And then we also have, for Amazon Cloud, we have AMI images that we will be generating from 4.7 that will make it easier to deploy on Amazon Cloud if you have such a need for cloud deployment. And I expect that as we go forward, we'll be seeing more different types of support for different cloud services, specifically inside our surveillance product. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about why we're doing some of the things that we're doing here. We are trying to provide enhancements to the different types of ways that you can get into the product, for one thing. And there's three main areas that our customers get into the product via. They get into it, sometimes some customers have real-time windows open. Other customers access it through the alerts. They either get alerts or there's other types of ways to get alerts as well. And then they need to drill down on more information, or they need to manage those alerts. And then the central repository or reports is another way that our customers access our product and get information for the first time. So the enhancements that we've done this year in 4.5 and then also in 4.7 coming up are the following: is in the real-time windows, Agile Historical Analysis is an enhancement so that we can really provide things in a much easier to access way, because we've gotten feedback from customers that we need to be able to access data in a certain type of way, and so we're trying to provide that with the Agile Historical Analysis to be able to see that top SQL by hour, to see that SQL, all the SQL between 5 and 7 o'clock. Those kinds of short-term historical needs are something that we're really trying to emphasize in our 4.7 product. If you're coming in through the alerts, in our 4.5.2 product that we released earlier this year, we provide the alerts dashboard. And the alerts dashboard really provides a nice way to see the alerts that have been created. There's incident management so that you can handle some of the items. You can go ahead and jump directly to information on those alerts. Those kinds of things are provided in the alerts dashboard. And then also through the central repository, through the reporting, we want to provide web reporting to enhance that experience, to be able to share reports. Whereas with the Crystal that we already have, the Crystal reports, you can of course create PDFs on a scheduled process, and you can distribute those as well. Now, the other thing we're also doing in 4.7 is starting to leverage 3 tiers of metric data that we've had for a long time actually in the product. Of course, we've had real-time, we've had short-term data in the flashback repository, and we have long-term data in the central repository. For the real-time, we're trying to create more enhanced visualizations, and I'll be showing a little bit of that today. We also have the Agile Historical Analysis for the flashback, and of course, web reporting is for the central repository. So with these 3 different sources of data, we're going to be able to, in the future, create enhanced windows that allow us to combine different aspects of these 3 tiers of data. And it's going to be really exciting stuff that we're going to be able to show going forward. And in 4.7, we're going to have a little bit of that, probably a little bit more separated than combined. But in the future, we'll be able to do deliver a lot more things in different types of ways to really see how things were going and how they relate to today and how they relate to yesterday. In 4.7, we also have some other minor items coming up. We have being able to send web links through the emails, so you can jump directly to a particular web page showing the information from the alert email. The web client is now going to be our primary UI in 4.7, but we still have the Windows client, which will continue to be available as a thin client package, so you'll still have that available to you. We'll also have server-side installation and management of the central repository, which gives more flexibility for managing the central repository. Right now it's a Windows-only item, so now that'll be available on Unix to manage the repository. We also have a really big point for us, which is asynchronous collections. It's a very geeky item, but for you and your monitoring, what this means is that if you have a lot of entities underneath an agent, let's say you have a lot of database connections, what we call entities, underneath one particular surveillance installation, you'll be able to get the data more easily from the different entities. So it'll be a really great performance enhancement on that side. And then, as I mentioned, we have our new Uber agent, what we call our DBG Uber technology, and we'll be able to provide application level collectors in the future. So it's a very exciting thing for us to be able to put that in the product and get that going so that we can make future enhancements that'll really be really great. Okay, so now we'll go into a demo of the product and some of the things we have in 4.7. So now we have the Bradmark Surveillance web client on the screen. And you can see here, especially if you're coming from the Windows client, you can see it's a bit familiar with the tree on the left side, and we have other information available. Now, the first thing I'd like to show is the alerts dashboard. If we go over to the alerts tab, we have now a lot of enhancements in this area to show the alerts that are coming in. You can see I have quite a few alerts. I have a SAP replication server that's quite unhealthy at the moment. We have things like the truncation point hasn't moved on some replication. I have a suspect replication server. I got a couple of threads down. It's basically a mess going on. And you can see down here we also have things on processes that have been out there for too long. We have databases that are down. So a lot of different kinds of things going on. But here you can centrally see a nice central place for all the alerts. And on here you can also manage the alerts. You can also get information on the alerts, copy them to the clipboard, save them off to a spreadsheet. You can also close the alerts, so I can check a few of these and then go to close it and say yes to closing it, for example, directly from here. And also we can go directly to information on the alerts. So for example, I have a replication thread that is down over here on this particular rep server. I can go over here and open the window associated with it, and it'll go jump directly to the window that provides me some more information on it. So in this way, we've enhanced the alerts dashboard to really provide a lot of nice information on the alerts, be able to manage the alerts. Of course, you still have the ability to see the alerts in different ways. You can come in here, that was a flat view of it. We can come in here and see it by database or by entity. You can see here I have, for example, a rep server that has an error item. I can click on here and see all the alerts that are associated for that one in particular. On all of these alert windows, I can go in here and I can filter by open and closed ones. I can take a look at severity, error, information, warning, those kinds of things. I can take a look at just the error items up here. So a lot of different ways to see it. I can look at it by server instead of database as well. So that's some of the things that we've done on the alerts dashboard. Going over to, and that was in 4.5.2 and 4.5.3, we did enhancements in that area. Another thing that we did in the 4.5.2 era was we did started some of the visualization enhancements. So if I drill down over here to SAP ASC server, and we take a look at our spin lock information, take a look at spin lock activities. Now, we've always provided spin lock information for a while, but here in 4.5.2, 4.5.3, we really enhanced it more. And if I scroll down to a particular one, let's say we take a look at the schedule queue spin lock, which has 16 partitions or 16 items. With the spin locks, the interesting thing about it for ASC is that the SAP ASC is that if you have a partition data cache, for example, you're going to see the one spin lock per partition most of the time. Let me go over here and get that item again. Take a look at the schedule queue one, which has 16 spin locks being allocated to it. And what we've done in the 4.5.2 release or 4.5.3 release is we added histograms to show, for example, the distribution of the grabs, of the weights. So ideally, you're going to want to see this is a distribution of, for example, weights and spins. And ideally, if you have 16 spin locks, you're going to want an even distribution across all of those spin locks. So in this particular graph, we'd want to see everything off to the right or off to the left primarily. You can see there's a little bit of uneven distribution on the spin locks, a little bit uneven distribution on the weights. So this is one of the enhancements to the visuals that we're doing. These kinds of enhancements are things we're trying to bring to other parts of the product as well. We did this in the spin lock portion of the 4.5 releases. Now, the other thing we did in our 4.5.3 release is bring new support for, or better support for replication server ticket. And if we come over here, we can take a look at what that looks like. So this is a RS ticket on a replicate. This is a replicate database. If I click on here, I can see, and of course, we already see latency. We see some bytes per second. If I click on here, we can see larger graphs, expanded information about recent history on the latency, recent history on the throughput, on the DSI commands. This kind of visualization is something that we're taking over to other windows as time goes on, to be able to bring a lot more useful information, kind of focus on the information, be able to show a little bit of the historical item built into it, kind of update some of the visuals on there, and that's what we're providing here. And you can see that we have latency that's, right now the number of seconds since last ticket, 10 seconds since last ticket. We have latency that's under a second. Throughput is a particular amount of space here. So we have some nice visuals that we brought into the replica in the RS ticket, and we're bringing that to other items as well. Now in 4.7, one of the things in 4.7 is our support for things like the agile historical analysis, things like the top SQL by hour. So we can come over here to recent history and take a look at top SQL by hour, and I can choose a particular time range. So I can, let's say I'm going to pick the last day's worth of information, and I can tell it to go. And so now what I'm doing is I'm looking at, I'm asking it to go and figure out the last SQL. Oops, let's see here, go ahead and go. Okay, well, what we're doing is we're querying the last day's worth of SQL and see who's the top SQL in the last day. Okay, and so here we have, you can see in the last 10 hours I have data, and the particular, there was some kind of event that happened around 7 or 8. This is a fairly idle ASE database, but I can see there was a particular event around 7 or 8. My time, and then of course I have a little bit of something going on here, and I can actually go here and click on the item, see the SQL that was running at that time. So here I have an update going on, and I have another update, and then over here there's a wait for delay. So in this particular case I have a blocking scenario that's going on, but this allows us to see the different SQLs that are taking up the most elapsed time. In this case we also have that by CPU time, also see it by wait time, and then also a comparison of CPU versus wait. So here we can really see, and of course we can click on here that there was some issue going on here where there was a blocking situation. And this is one of the things that you can do with this. We also have information regarding processes and timed events and a lot of variety of other things. And this kind of thing is we're trying to do more of, leveraging our flashback historical repository to be able to show these kinds of things. So, so going back to the presentation here. So that was a bit of 4.7, really trying to leverage a lot of the things that we already have in the product, because we're already storing a lot of short-term historical data, and now we're trying to show that in the UI and be able to provide you different ways of navigating that information. Going forward to 4.8, which our 4.8 product, we actually have a whole lot of things that we want to do in our 4.8 product. But the only things I can really talk about right now are the following items, which is one of the things is we're going to be delivering a new product called surveillance for Postgres SQL. We've had a lot of people ask for Postgres SQL, and so we're finally going to deliver a module for that. That'll provide the usual kinds of things you'd expect in our other modules. You have a health window, and you have different things regarding SQL and space usage and processes, as well as some screens specific to Postgres SQL, and then of course alerting off of that and reporting off of that, and all the things that you're used to getting in the other modules. We're going to have LDAP integration to provide easier authentication in the enterprise, and as well as more enhancements to the web client, and then also probably a few more major items that we'll have in there as well that'll be pretty darn exciting. some of the future directions of the product, of where we're going is in 4.8 and beyond, is, as I mentioned, we're trying to do more visualizations, trying to do better visualizations to really show more useful information, show it in a better way that's easier to navigate. We'll be doing more of that, tapping more into the historical data in our flashback repository, in our central repository. We plan on doing more monitoring of analytical databases and the technologies that go with it. I think there's a couple areas that we've got feedback on, and certainly if there's technologies that you find that you need monitoring for, we'd love to hear about that. And there's also machine learning. I think we'll be getting into the product as well. You hear a lot about the machine learning or the cognitive era. IBM, I think that's IBM's term for that. A lot of that is involving going out to the web and getting information and trying to make decisions off of that. But one of the challenges that we face with are delivering something like this, like adaptive types of thresholds and stuff like that, is to deliver that in your environment, which may be closed off, which is closed off from the internet, and we know it needs to be provided in a box to you. So that's one of the things that we're getting into, is being able to maybe to augment the alerting by augmenting the thresholds and the static rules, and being able to do things like automatic thresholds, and providing that in the box, in the product, on your site. Now, of course, this is all for augmenting the existing things about surveillance that we try to promote, which is the support for the latest databases for ASC, SQL Server, Oracle. We have in-depth metrics for performance analysis, the flashback for post-incident analysis. One of the things we're enhancing is the web monitoring of incidents and alerts and metrics. We're trying to be making it as ready as we can for enterprise deployment, giving you the tools you need to deploy the product on many servers and to make it cloud ready as well. So now I think we'll open it up to the Q&A. So John, if there's any questions you want to bring up.
Well, I'm looking right now, Ed. It looks like everybody just kind of got blown away by what you had to present, because there's very light on the questions. If there's any questions anybody wish to ask, please plug in right away. I will mention that there will be a PDF of this deck available for those that are available at a later date, and as well as a online recorded session of this. We usually post on our YouTube account, and you'll see how to connect to that shortly here in a moment. So we'll go ahead and do that, have that ready for you.
Okay,
I
think one question that came in is what databases is the Agile historical analysis available on? I think that it'll be available on our major databases, things like SAP ASC, Oracle, SQL Server. Those databases, the being able to see the top SQL by hour, being able to see the SQL between 5 and 7 o'clock, that'll be available on the major databases that we supported.
Mm-hmm. And we have another question come in about integration with other monitoring systems, such as IBM Tivoli monitoring.
Right. Well, we definitely have. We already support things like Tivoli and OpenView for a long time. We have recent support for SCOM, and we have the SNMP support. Now that we have an official MIB definition for it, it makes it a lot easier to integrate that with any of your MIB receivers. Things like Netcool and OpenNMS or other types of services as well. So definitely able to integrate with that. We can run utilities to integrate with other products as well. So it's a lot of different ways to integrate into their calling web services, those kinds of things.
Okay. We also got a question regarding obviously pricing and downloading a trial version. Please go, I suggest you go online, click our request, demo request download or link, and then fill that out, and our reps will get back with you and give you the information that you need on getting access to a trial version and product information. Okay.
Okay. John, I'll just answer a few more questions on here.
Sure.
They're asking about the release date. The release date is still to be determined, so we will definitely let you know as soon as we know. But we're still working on the release date.
Okay.
And then also some questions about the Surveillance Express Edition, about whether that's going to be available for download. That will be available for download, and I think that's something else we'll have to get back to y'all on and see how we're going to be providing that.
Okay. Anything else there?
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I think so. Heading back to you, John. If everybody wants to get in touch with us, how do they do that?
Well, there you have it. I mean, again, this is my pretty much my real action item here to pass on to all of you. I mean, it's pretty simple. Get connected with us through whatever flavor of social media. Be a part of our community. You can always email us, sales@bradmark.com, or send some information at info@bradmark.com, which will go to me and interact that way. But again, those items that we connect with are up there and available for you to access. Secondly, obviously, we want to hear from you, from your real world challenges and successes or challenges, by that matter. It's very important to us. So share those experiences with us. That enables us to obviously continue to provide, the best breed of database products and services that we can available. One question I did see, Ed, about the overhead CPU and memory requirements to run the product. I mean, I guess that should be all on our website, shouldn't it? Or you can go ahead and speak to that.
Yeah, I think the information is on the website, but we try to keep the impact pretty low, trying to keep it under 5% at the OS level, at the database level. There are some, the things that we turn on automatically out of the box. Those things are going to take low impact. However, there are some things, of course, to help investigate further problems. Like, for example, we have on our ASC product, we have a transaction log usage window. The general window is low impact, but drilling down, we actually mine the log for information. So that's going to be a little bit more of an impact. But all the things that are out of the box are what we call our our standard rules, standard stores. Those are low impact, and we can try to keep them as low as possible, but typically under 5%.
Okay. All right.
I guess, are there any more questions on the question items?
Let's see.
Let's see, another question we have.
Okay,
I guess we're bringing the Q&A a little bit forward here.
Yeah.
You can install the product. The question is whether you could, if you have ASC, for example, on AIX, where do you install the product? And you can install the product. We're flexible on where you can install it. However, installation and pricing are different, but you can install the product in different scenarios in different places. So there's flexibility there. Okay. Well,
absolutely.
I guess we'll wrap this up.
Absolutely, Ed. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks everyone else out there in the stratosphere for your time, and we will hopefully see you again soon. We try to do these on a quarterly basis. There will be some events, particularly on the SAP database side, that will be linked into in the upcoming months in October. I believe one is in New York and the other one is up in the UK. And so stay tuned for more information on that. And I will be getting back with each and every one of you at some capacity in the near future. So thanks again for attending. Ed, again, thank you for a wonderful presentation. And we will see you soon at another time. Thank you so much.